Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, it was going to hit so good on this episode. You knew it was going to be coming right off the bat. Them Texas Rangers. Bruce Bochy doing it again. The Texas Rangers are World Series champions, Dallas.
Marcus Semien is a World Series champion. Bruce Bochy is a four-time World Series champion.
World Series MVP. Josh Young, Marcus Semien, all the boys from down south. They're going to be parading around Dallas DFW because they did it. A gentleman sweeping the World Series, sweeping them D-backs. I mean, we thought we were going to get a great series. It was still a great game tonight. It wasn't the epic battle that we thought we were going to get. But it doesn't fucking matter. Does not matter because the Texas Rangers are standing tall. The last team standing, as they say. 2023 World Series champions. Rob Manfred, Uncle Manfred out there handing over the piece of metal for the first time in franchise history. Can you take me fucking higher, Dallas?
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Yeah. Guaranteed.
Please lay it on me.
Look, this is what I love to see happen when you zoom out and think about how we got here. Growing talent. Chris Young stepping into a role that we just watched. And Jared, you folks in Boston, you got to be licking your lips. You got to be excited about what you're seeing because you just watched Chris Young step into a role where at times it's more than okay to evaluate with numbers and algorithms, but at times it's also okay to tap into what you know in your heart, which is what Chris Young did to an extent, and you make baseball decisions and you see guys get to the mountaintop because of those, I guess you call them baseball decisions. You go get good players and good things happen. And baseball players know that. If you're a good player, you're going to cost money. So it's going to cost money to get some good players in here. You do that, but again, just watching the organization set out, I mean, it was said beautifully by Chris Young. There was a vision in place. They had a plan. And this is what it looks like when you're able to execute that plan. When things go the way you want them to, this is what it looks like. World Series.
You know the craziest part about all of this? And it never became a narrative. Like, maybe I wasn't paying attention enough. I never heard the fucking name Jacob deGrom on the broadcast. Like, that was a swinging dick moment for the Texas Rangers going out there. You sign Marcus Semien. Then you go pay Corey Seager. But when they got Jacob deGrom, everyone was like, oh, fuck. Like, they are on a different level right now. And then they trade for Max Scherzer because Jacob deGrom goes down. Scherzer, I don't want to call him a non-factor, but he wasn't Max Scherzer. And you didn't have Jacob deGrom at all. And they still won the World Series.
But what's interesting to think about that, I'll kind of work backwards from the most recent statement you just made. Where, if you kind of go back and look at the series, who would you have account for the innings that Max Scherzer gave you? And does how that bullpen gets rolled out look a little different if there's no Max Scherzer accounting for those innings?
Well, John Gray's the answer because he was outstanding out of the bullpen. But who plays his role in the bullpen? We don't know.
That's what I mean because of the trickle down effect. So you can identify a guy that you would love to be taking the ball in Max Scherzer's role, but you have to understand what you just said, which is everybody else is going to have to slot down as well. And that means somebody has to step the fuck up. And it was Spores who shut the doors, young Joseph. But to your deGrom comment, Jared, you remember what I said the minute we got this news. The minute we got the news that deGrom was down and out, I said, hot take. Maybe it's a hot take, but you gotta move on. You gotta bury the deGrom stuff right now. You have to get over it. You can't let that factor in to what you're trying to get done for the rest of the season, because you're going to find yourself bitching, pissing, and moaning over not being able to capitalize on the acquisition of potentially the game's greatest arm talent right now, and you're not going to be able to utilize his resources, his services. So the quicker that you can make peace with that and figure out what the plan is, what the path is, the better off you're going to be. And that is exactly what the Texas Rangers did. They took it on the chin. They kept rolling. They made the moves. They were unapologetically aggressive in trying to shore up themselves and a postseason run. And it all culminated in a fucking dub, baby.
Yeah. So I want to get to Joey and Jay Hayes' thoughts after the Texas Rangers just won the World Series, but I don't want this to be buried too far down in the podcast. Dallas, as someone who knows Marcus Semien personally, who has seen his journey, what were you feeling when you saw him for the first time, maybe in his entire life, show true emotion when he hit that home run in the ninth inning?
I mean, you know what it's like when you watch a guy struggle, when you watch guys around him almost question why the opportunities, himself questioning, and you watch that player stay true to themselves, and you watch them absorb institutional knowledge and apply it. And then you watch him grow into the man he has become and the baseball player that he's become. And I will always say this about Marcus: what you see on the field is secondary to what you get in the clubhouse and what you get away from the field. And that's a big part of the Rangers identifying core guys that they wanted and moving forward with them. So while they get labeled the $500 million middle infield, what Marcus Semien brings to the table, I don't know that you can put a monetary value on.
He played every single game this year.
And Jared, that's something that he has. Look, dude, I'm telling you, you have to tell the guy
most at bats in Major League history.
You have to tell the guy a game's being played somewhere else if you think you're going to get him out of the lineup. It just ain't going to happen. It just ain't going to happen. And that's part of the mindset of I need to show up and I need to man the post each and every day because of what I preach and the example I'm trying to set. I have to live up to that. And he has no problem doing that. So when you see all of the work put in, the blood, sweat, and tears, and you see it all come out in the shape of a World Series championship run for Marcus Semien, him and his family, man, I hope they don't ever come off Cloud 9 because that's where they should be. They should buy a house on Cloud 9. He should be the mayor of Cloud 9. I mean, it just, I don't know that I have. I mean, watching that emotion, I could almost hear him through the TV, bro. Like you could feel it. You could just feel it. And then the single chest pump at home after looking up at the squad, like, yo, what's up?
Yeah,
what's up? Get that fucking ring ready. Dude.
Right. That it's fucking cool. I mean, it's obviously it's cool hearing it from you because you guys go back to the Oakland days.
Things are heating up in the ballpark, and the chase to crown a champion is on. And in my own words, things definitely did heat up at the ballpark, and a champion was crowned, and it's the Texas Rangers. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you won't miss a moment of the baseball action, whether it was last night or in 2024. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. Plus, all customers can take a crack at a sweet payday with DraftKings same-game parlays. String together multiple bets from a single game for your shot at a major payout. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code JARED. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code JARED. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance, opt-in, and 10-plus leg requirement for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms.
Jay Hay, final out is recorded. Texas Rangers World Series champions. Your thought dump after what a year it's been for them Rangers.
It's not every day that we get to celebrate the first World Series championship in a franchise's history. So I think that's takeaway number one. That's cool. And regardless of how they got there or who's on the team, that to me is pretty special. I think there's a lot of individual things to like about this World Series championship. You guys sort of hit on it. Dallas sort of hit on it. They spent. And I like that. That's been pretty clear on the podcast. I like teams that invest in their own product. And they went out and they did that. And it wasn't just that. It's not just a purchased championship. There's a lot of internal development stuff, which again, you guys touched on, and we can list all of the people if we want to. So I like that part of it. There was individually excellent player achievements on this team throughout the postseason and in the World Series. We've talked about Corey Seager. It's nice when you can point to at least one dude who gave you that like historically significant performance throughout the postseason and in the World Series specifically. That makes it feel nice. The Bruce Bochy thing, like whatever. I think there's a limit to how intensely fans are going to root for a manager's accomplishments, but in a different way than when Dusty won it for the first time with the Astros. That was probably the best storyline to come out of that, given everybody's sentiment on the Astros. This is different, but it's cool as well because like the people to win 4 World Series championships, as we talked about, are Joe Torre, Bruce Bochy, and a bunch of people who stopped managing like 7 years before Dallas was even born. As the veteran person on this podcast, like it's all people like some of those people were managing in the 1800s. That's how distant this sort of accomplishment is. And so I think that's fucking awesome. I've got other stuff that we could talk about, but those are the signature kind of bullet points for me.
And the love in the industry that people have for Boch, that people have for Dusty, right? I can think of another manager, Tito, and I don't know how much longer that list goes where universally you are going to be celebrated. Universally, people are pulling for you, right? And that just doesn't, I don't feel like that happens all the time. So for all of the things you just listed, Jay Hay, to be storylines going into this season and then coming out of this season to have it end the way it did, it's magical, man.
Bro, Bruce Bochy was managing Team France literally 1 year ago today. and not the World Baseball Classic, the World Baseball Qualifier, Team France.
Yeah.
They lost.
Yeah.
That's he got it out the gutter, brother.
Think about this too. You see Tim Flannery, dear friend of mine, Bruce Bochy's third base coach extraordinaire. That dude, his tweet, it was 13 years ago that Bruce Bochy and Tim Flannery and the rest of that San Francisco Giants crew took down the Texas Rangers to win their first in that 10 decade where they started their dynastic run. 10, 12, 14.
I think we might have found a trend right now. I mean, the old fucking guy manager is kind of like in. We got Snicker 2021. Old as shit. Then you had fucking our guy, Dusty Baker, now Bruce Bochy. If you're a team looking for a manager, get the oldest guy you can get. Ron Washington's a free agent, and I don't want to see him go from the Braves, but I would love to see Ron Washington get another chance.
We won't mention the Tony La Russa corollary to this.
We're going to leave that out.
I think he's still sleeping in the dugout. Yeah.
Listen. That's small sample size.
I'll tell you this, man. I'll tell you this. There is a very real, and it might not be bubbling at the surface where a lot of folks, maybe even just kind of casual baseball fans checking in, see this or feel this, but there is a very real shift back towards the middle of valuing institutional knowledge to the point where they're reacquiring it and they're paying for it to be in pivotal places in organizations, maybe not in the big league level. Maybe you're stashing these guys somewhere at the complex, roving in structures, whatever, but getting baseball-minded folks back in instead of analytical-minded first folks leading the way. There is I don't want to call it a transition, but there is a reemergence of the baseball mind in coupling with the analytical mind. And that's where teams, that's a sweet spot that you want to be. I think the Texas Rangers have done a magnificent job of wading into that pool.
We could see an Alex Rodriguez GM job coming up soon. Get that old school mind.
I just saw a tweet that made me laugh. Someone said a lot of cousins getting pregnant tonight.
That's too far. That's so fucking. So
That's fucked up. Jay, cut that. Cut that.
Who tweeted that? Dox him.
Looks like he's
Jared's just throwing a feeler out there.
That.
He was thinking about firing it off.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. That was very funny. Joseph, is there I guess it's a eulogy to the season, but what are your words to share about this team?
This team, I mean, we talked about the team. I want to talk about the game specifically. What kind of pissed me off with the D-backs and why I picked against them is because they don't hit enough home runs. And I don't know what inning when they had Marino up on first and second and they had the 3-hole hitter bunt. That pissed me off.
There's a lot of bunting for my liking tonight. There's a lot of bunting.
He's hitting third. I know it's not Babe Ruth up there. It's not Corey Seager, but he's hitting third.
Well, and Joe, this is a dude who's been swinging the bat and providing a lot of the power that you've been experiencing this entire postseason. And as somebody who has been very vocal about the brand of baseball that the Diamondbacks play and thoroughly enjoying the brand of baseball they play, they pitch it, they catch it, they feel. I mean, they do it all. They just don't have that power looming consistently. So when I see that, and Jay Hay has eloquently laid out what happens in the postseason when you hit maybe just one more homer than the other guy, or maybe you hit a couple more, you're typically winning those games. If there was somebody in the lineup that was going to be that threat, that was going to jump ship in that moment, Moreno?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't know the exact number. I was looking it up in like the 5th, 6th inning when they had a no-hitter, so this changed. But the Diamondbacks out-hit the Rangers by a lot, by like 17 hits. Which is a lot over 5 games.
Yeah, the whole season. I mean, you look across the board offensively, and if you were to do that blind test, I think CJ Nikowski, Rangers broadcaster, tweeted this. Like, if you were to just look at the numbers across the board, and you had to pick a team with no label, you're not picking the Texas Rangers. The offensive production you end up picking is the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think that was going into today, but that's
25, 25-4. Teams to out-homer opponents in the postseason. 25-4. That's what it ended at.
And this series felt like that was way more obvious.
Yes, I totally agree. No analysts are going to get themselves all frothy over the way that the Rangers beat the Diamondbacks because for some reason the game is just obsessed about talking about certain things and not others. But the Rangers won this World Series on the back of outslugging their opponent. Period. Because they were also a great defensive team. That's the other thing that should be mentioned again is like, yeah, the Diamondbacks brand of baseball, quote unquote, included great defense, but like so did the Rangers. They also just happened to hit home runs with it.
Mm-hmm.
Even under the bright lights of the Texas Rangers winning the World Series, Blue Moon Belgian White Belgian-style wheat ale is the beer that's made brighter. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark for baseball fans, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. From its bold, refreshing flavor to its beautiful, bright color, Blue Moon is as iconic as America's pastime. I bet the Texas Rangers right now are having a helicopter airlift thousands of Blue Moons to whatever club they're at in Arizona, absolutely popping off right now. If you're a Texas Rangers fan and you're not drinking a Blue Moon tonight, tomorrow, for the parade, all weekend to celebrate your championship, then you're just doing it wrong. Nothing tastes better than an ice-cold championship Blue Moon. With its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball, so it's the perfect match for the playoffs. The crack of a beer, the pour, the first sip of that bold flavor after winning a championship. Blue Moon always feels like a special occasion. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful bright color, A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, like a ring for the Rangers, but you can enjoy it all through the parade. Brighten up the Rangers parade with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for fresh baseball merch and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket to find Blue Moon delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale.
Fucking Smoltz was talking about it. The Rangers, the last 2 games, they only scored in like 4 innings. And they scored how many runs the last 2 games? 16 runs. And they all came in like barely at like 4 or 5 innings. Like they're scoring them in bunches.
Were they 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position tonight and left 11?
The range?
No, the D-backs.
No, the D-backs, yeah. 9 at bats, 9 or 10. Jared, because it was when that stat popped up, I think that was 9, and then during that 10th at bat or whatever. But yeah, dude, like
they were 0 for 9 with 11 left on.
Like not to do relitigate the game itself, and it's a 4-1 series win. So this is not saying that like, oh, the Rangers barely won this, but like there are several games in this series where you can like pinpoint moments where it's like inflection points in the series, in the game. Like I was watching. Obviously, we were all watching the game tonight, but like they had Eovaldi on the ropes on multiple different occasions and were unable to cashier that in. And it was just like
Tommy Pham.
Yeah, it's like.
Did you hear him talk after the game? Eovaldi was like, "I didn't pitch well tonight, but we got it done." It's like, what are you talking about? Bro, didn't give up a single run. What, 5 guys?
No, yeah, but you can
no runs. Crazy.
You know what he's talking about, though. Like at the end of the day, it is about how many runs you gave up. But that was not some performance where he was just like gliding through these innings and dominating the Diamondbacks. Like he got the outs when he needed to.
Inning?
But that was a gutsy performance.
Yeah, he had one clean inning. Yeah, and that's the definition of gutsy. When you go out there and you don't have command, you don't have stuff, a pitch or two. You're out there trying to make shit up, and doing that in the World Series, folks, in a clincher, very different.
Doesn't that make it even a little bit more impressive, though? I mean, obviously,
always, for sure.
Like Zach Gallen's outing of like not allowing a hit until the 7th inning or whatever it was. Like, yes, that's very impressive. But when you're Nathan Eovaldi going out there and you don't have your best shit, and you still don't, you work yourself into bases loaded, 2 runners in scoring position, and you just pitch your way out of it. Like that's also very impressive. I get what he's saying. It's not the best fucking outing in the world with the 5 walks and there was a lot of traffic. No damage. No, and
that's honestly, that's him. He understands. And that's something that I think as athletes, you do it, and especially specifically pitchers, because of what you just said. We are well aware that getting out of those tight jams are as big of a deal as if I were to go out and punch the side out. Three innings in a row, right? One looks really good. One tells you I'm dominating. The other one, I'm just trying to fucking bob and weave.
Is he the first starting pitcher to win 5 games in a single postseason, Jay?
No, yes. He joined Steven Strasburg in 2019 as the only pitchers to go 5-0 in a single postseason. He is the first pitcher to have his team win all 6 of his starts in a postseason.
That's what 6 was going to be it, right, Jay?
Yeah, he personally went 5-0. The Rangers went 6-0 in his starts. That's never happened before. Strauss the only one to individually go 5-0. Yeah,
and no one's won 6.
He got the no decision in game 1.
Yeah. Is that the one he didn't win? Yeah. Yes, so. Correct. Game 1. Yep. He's also, while we're on it, he's the 7th start of 6 scoreless in a World Series potential clincher in the wild card era, joining Fried in 21. Then you have to go all the way back to Freddie Garcia in 05, Derek Lowe, Josh Beckett, Andy Pettit, and Tom Glavine. So some signature clinching performances. He joins in. Just one more thing on the gutsy part, like in its own way, I do think that is a more legendary context in which to deliver the start in a World Series. Like, yes, I would love to see a 13 strikeout, 0 walk, 8 inning World Series shutdown performance. That's sick as fuck. But like watching a guy that you know for sure doesn't have his best stuff and is working out of jams and is creating tension within the game in a potential clincher. That to me is as much fun to watch as a guy who's, at the 99th percentile of his powers in a given start.
Yeah. I mean, you just take yourself back to, back to freshman year, curled up on the couch, spooning, lights are off. And you're like, oh God, this is going to go through the back of somebody here. Lights come on. Oh, damn. All right. Kill it. Lights go off. You're back. You're feeling good. Just up and down, up and down, up and down. And then finally, oh my God, that felt amazing. That felt incredible. That's what
You're
that feels
talking nuts right now?
Freshman year, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Freshman year of college, right? Because I know freshman
Of
year of high
course.
school, you were focused on your studies. Yeah.
You
Okay.
got it, Jay.
Yeah.
Anatomy.
Didn't I watch that baseball doesn't exist video where Dallas like didn't even like get into high school?
They wouldn't accept him in high school, bro. That was too much of a problem.
That's enough. That's enough.
It was something like that. They were like, this guy.
Stockton High School said, "No, dude, we
You're
don't
gonna
need any
have me raised
troublemakers."
by fucking polar bears here. By the way,
Yeah.
that's enough.
Yeah, there's something about that in that video. It was like, dude got kicked out of like 5 schools or something. I digress. That doesn't have anything to do with the Texas Rangers. I'll
No,
be
see,
honest.
look at how far Dallas has come. Sort of like the Rangers, who became the first team since the 1969 Mets to win a World Series within 2 years of a 100 loss season. That's pretty cool.
Wow. Look at that. That's a nice little stat.
And it's stuff like that I will just. If you've got a guy like Chris Young in the front office that has helped steer the ship back in this sort of direction and is a voice and is a presence, and you're seeing the decisions that are being made and you're watching the success follow. That I'm serious when I say this. The first people I thought about were Red Sox fans. That was the first thing that came to my mind. Was
Why?
like, what do you mean? Why?
Why?
What do you mean? Why?
Why'd you think of Red Sox fans?
Why wouldn't I? Think about a real, think about a bad baseball team, and then think about somebody who's got experience not only in the organization but at a championship level, coming back to that organization and maybe injecting a combination of an analytically driven and a game field driven sort of approach that could bring a really sad state back to prominence where they're used to being as a franchise. I don't know.
Without looking, I want to say the D-backs won like 4 more games than the Red Sox this year in the regular season. But
So
gotta
you
get
guys
the
just got
dance.
yourself a nice little former player GM, dude.
Yeah, can you put us in a group text tomorrow after the press conference?
Yeah,
I got
for sure.
I got Yeah. Will you
100%.
actually? Will you?
100%.
The D-backs won the same amount of games as the Marlins. One more than the Cubs.
The other
2 more than
postseason
the
team?
Reds.
Are you talking about the other postseason team?
They won less than the Mariners.
I mean,
Tough
2
division.
more than the Yanks.
Tough division,
The
too.
shitty fucking Yanks. That's crazy though. Like the Yankees, how much of a dumpster fire that is. Over 162. Won 2 less games than the team in the World
Yeah.
Series.
Once every 3 months, the D-backs won 1 more game than the Yankees, basically.
Mhm.
as part of this discussion, let's just say we hop in a hypothetical hot tub, right? Hypothetically, if the D-backs won the World Series, we could fairly have a conversation about, all right, but what about next year? Like, realistically, is this team going to be a playoff team next year? They're not a team that spends a lot unless it's on Zach Greinke. This is not like, yes, they have some nice, young, exciting pieces, but it was very improbable that they got as far as they did. With the Texas Rangers, though, I don't think we're having that same discussion. They're going to be a problem for a little while now.
Yeah, I mean, even without the services of DeGrom, even with that question mark, if they've shown you the willingness and the ability to acquire talent outside of the organization, and they've also showed look, you're going to get a full season of Carter, right? You're going to get a full season, a full count.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be excited about that. Young's
When is
just going
DeGrom due back? Probably
Well,
late.
I remember reading something that said that he wants to be back next year by the end of next year.
Yeah, I would say we're going to get reports about him throwing and maybe doing mound work. Yeah, right after the All-Star break, August.
Yeah, because when did he go under the knife? Like May?
Yeah, it was early.
Yeah.
It was early, very early.
Yeah, it's still possible.
August. Okay, Jacob DeGrom eyes August 24 return.
Yeah,
It's
that's exactly where I would think he's going to pop up, if he's going to pop up there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
and the Diamondbacks, like,
probably not
say the
gonna have Jordan
Diamondbacks do win the
Montgomery,
World Series.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you think about the movie Field of Dreams, the scene at the end where you're zooming out and you just see this long line of cars starting to, the headlights making their way to the field. Like that's what teams are going to look like lining up for Will Smith. I said jokingly, like, the dude just won his 3rd World Series in a row. Like, I don't care if you've got any bullets left. Like, you want to hang out? You hit a fungo? Like, what can you do? We need you on the rooster, though.
That's got Brian Cashman written all over it. He's gonna be like, you know what? I'm under a lot of fire right now. Bring me Will Smith. Give me Will Smith in here. Yeah.
You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. One of my coworkers, who's a huge Rangers fan, shout out Matt, actually had tickets to Game 6 and 7 of the World Series if it ended up going back to Texas. I hit him up before Game 5 tonight. I was like, look, dude, I know you got tickets to Game 6 and 7, but you can't honestly be rooting for the Rangers to lose tonight, right? He was like, fuck that, give me the ring, which I respect. Plus, he got his tickets super cheap on Game Time, and they have event cancellation protection, so he's not going to pay a dime. But I'm sure he'll be in the market for some Rangers tickets next year, and Game Time is going to be his first stop. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total up front so you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. Buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for big-time savings. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code JARED for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code JARED for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
But yeah, Jordan Montgomery is going to be a subtraction, one would assume. But adding a Jacob deGrom in August, not the worst swap in the world, but you just gotta, how do you replace him?
Well,
Does John Gray factor in again?
Clayton Kershaw.
He might retire, man.
Good chance.
I heard rumors he could go to the Rangers.
Those rumors have existed since like 2018, brother.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Since people found
just fucking around,
right? Because he's friends with Matt Stafford, right?
He's got a home in the area.
He does. All right. I mean, I feel like that kind of puts a bow on the conversation. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add?
Spores shut the doors.
Spores, yep, that was big time.
I mean, that
big time.
Just a local kid, grew up down the street from me. Good to see him grow up, big, strong World Series guy.
Dude had an ERA over 5 during the season, sub-1 during the playoffs, shuts it the fuck down to clinch it. That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, well,
People don't even know his second World Series. He actually won the College World Series 2015 for the Cavaliers.
And I like the fact that we had the conversation we had last night about who was going to be up, where we thought they were going to get plugged in, like Leclerc having never taken it 3 days in a row, and now, I mean, he was up, he was ready to crank, but given that lead, given just that little bit of cushion, Spores. Go get
him. That could have been their game. I'll be curious to see if it was still a 1-0 game. Who would they put in the 9th?
Well, that with Leclerc up there, that's why I'm so glad we had that conversation last night, is because I almost wanted to see Leclerc get into the game tonight so we could hopefully somebody would have tried to peel that onion all the way down and we would have gotten those answers like, hey, with Spores available and Leclerc getting the work he did, was it always going to be a plan, whether you needed to or not, to get Leclerc in that game, or were you trying to stay away from it? And once you realized that it was going to be Spores as your option, you were okay with getting him in? Like, what was the thought process behind that? And I was hoping to see Leclerc just to maybe get that answer.
Seems like they just want to go with the hot hand. I mean, this guy, I don't remember Spores giving up a fucking hit this playoffs.
Yeah. Don't overthink it.
They overthought it in game 4. Didn't have to do it. Didn't cost them anything. Don't overthink it. It's a clincher. Whatever. Fire your best bullets. That's what they did. Fucking world champs. Well, Jay, I think did you have something else that you want to say?
We've got a few other things on the World Series performances overall. Rangers, first team to ever go 11-0 on the road in the postseason. This was also, I think Langs tweeted that this was the highest winning percentage in a single postseason by road teams overall. So not sure there's much to take away from that, but kind of interesting trivia. For those who didn't listen all the way through yesterday, just to put a pin on it, Corey Seager is officially the second position player ever with multiple World Series MVPs, joining Reggie Jackson, fourth player overall, along with Bob Gibson and Sandy Koufax. So that's pretty cool. Building what could develop into a pretty interesting Hall of Fame case for Corey Seager. Certainly a lot more interesting than it looked at this point last season. Zach Gallen in the losing effort. First pitcher in World Series history to pitch 6 no-hit innings with his team facing elimination. So we were waiting for him to deliver that start in the postseason. He did. He delivered that start. It just didn't work out, I guess. Yeah, that's the cutting room floor.
There you go. I mean, we didn't talk about the Alec Thomas misplay in the outfield, which
gutted.
I mean, it's almost like thank God the D-backs didn't score any runs. Honestly, like it ended up not mattering. But like that has to be the worst feeling in the world to do that.
That was a killer too, and that was also like a perfect double play ball. If they had it, the guys played in the right place. Like that was off the bat. I was like, "Let's go," and then it gets all the way to the fucking wall.
That was bad. That was who else? Who did that? Who was that? Fucking.
It was Grissom. Grissom.
Yeah. Brewers Nat.
Trent.
Brewers Nat.
Grissom. Yep. That's why.
I believe it was Marquise. Marquise is the name we're looking for. Yeah.
It was Marquise Grissom in what, 2019? 18?
2019 wild card game.
Yeah. Was that Juan Soto that hit it?
I don't remember.
Damn.
But yeah, if he makes that play, then Nats might not win the World Series that year. Kind of wild.
All right. Any closing thoughts, Dallas?
No. I just think that Jay Hayes kind of said it. There's some highlights that you take away, and I think it is the Rangers winning their first ever World Series championship. As fans, we don't get that every year. You don't get that a lot. Some fan bases spend 80 plus years after selling off generational talent before they even sniff world championships again. Some over 100 years. Like it's a thing. So for it to happen for the first time for the Rangers, you got to love to see that. Boch, one of the greatest, now a 4-time World Series champion. And Berkeley's own, Oakland's own, Marcus Semien will go to bed tonight a World Series champion.
What are they going to do? Do they fly home tonight? What happens?
Parade's on Friday in Arlington.
But what's the party scene like?
Oh, they'll probably fly home tomorrow. They'll fly home tomorrow.
They're going to party in the clubs tonight for sure.
One of these years, a team will win at home and they'll be able to party in the comfort of their own beds and homes.
So we had that conversation. We were trying to figure out who the last team to win at home was. It was the fucking Astros last year.
Yeah, but that was like the first time in a while.
That was the first time, I believe, since the Red Sox in 13.
Yeah, so that's a 9-year gap between it. So it's happened. So it's happened twice in the last decade. Cool. and the team that did it was a team that nobody wants to celebrate, other than the people that are literally inside of that stadium.
Yeah.
Ouch, babe.
Joseph, any final thoughts here?
Well, I know it was a tough season for the Mets, but I know that, feeling good at least to get.
Imagine being a Mets fan, just trying to escape, and it's like, damn,
tough season for the Mets, but it's. I mean, they get to see the guys Scherzer and DeGrom win a World Series. Like they're probably fucking pumped right now. Like, let's go. Probably really happy. They love both those guys. Send them off, and now they're champions. Like that's what the Mets are hoping for, and they got it.
Guys, imagine what you can accomplish when you're not distracted by the swampy conditions in your shorts. Dollar Shave Club's ball spray is like deodorant for your balls. It absorbs moisture, reduces chafing, and keeps those rank odors at bay. Not to mention our minty, fresh, tingly aroma that lets you know you're fresh, and a precision sprayer that makes application easy at any angle. Get a fresh pair. Visit dollarshaveclub.com to get ball spray today.
Yeah, you know what, Jared? I just wanted to touch on one thing. My final thoughts here.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to need to see a lot more out of Akil Badu, and Jake Rod. Just
Akil Badu.
Yeah, what the hell are the Tigers going to do this offseason?
Right? I mean, that's what everybody's thinking. Why are we beating around the bush here? Yeah. What's the move in Motown? That's the question.
What's JJ Bledade's health update?
Yeah. There's only one thing that I'm really looking forward to right now, and that's fucking Paul Skeens. It's like, listen, man.
Oh
it is. Come on. To put a bow on this season, it started off with so much promise.
Congrats to the Pirates. Yeah.
We took on some water in May, and maybe the seas took us over. But just wait until 2024. When we get back on the boat, we start getting that water out of the hull. And we're going to be coming back for next year. What are we going to do, Dallas?
Jared, calmer seas or up ahead, smooth sailing on the horizon. We will be ready. I just want to compete, I just want to fucking compete. Let's raise it.
My final thought. Thank you, Dallas. Jay, hey, Joseph, Jake, all the fucking late nights editing the podcast. Kid ended up in the fucking hospital this year from exhaustion from all the 5 a.m. Podcast edits to the 9 a.m. Zoom meetings. Jeremy and Brian doing the videos that help us tremendously grow on social. Connor, who came in later in the season doing the social for us. And then obviously Corey, who is fucking outstanding at doing the graphics. And not only that, the guy is timely as fuck. And he's a listener of the podcast, which is huge. He gets it. So when we need something cooked up and we need it quick, he's never missed. He's never missed once. So shout out to Corey. Shout out to all the listeners. Thank you guys for listening. And we're peeping the podcast rankings as we go. And it was another year where we're sitting right up near the top of the baseball podcast rankings for a group of guys that we just we all love baseball. We all got our corners of the internet that we sit on otherwise. But this is our place to come and talk about our favorite sport. And we share that passion with you guys, the listeners. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, because we're really close. Again, 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. Go hit subscribe. Spotify, iTunes. We're going to be pumping out the off-season content. Are we doing 1 or 2 episodes a week, Jake? What's the plan?
Plan is 1, but we can discuss if we want to adjust.
Okay. We have that segment that we talked about. Jay, hey, we got some. That's going to be one of the things that we start cooking up for the off season is different segments that are off season specific, as well as breaking down the news, the notes, the rumors, and everything in between. So thank you guys for a very, very memorable season of Baseball is Dead. And that off-season content will be coming to you as soon as next week.
We go.